As Michael said, yes, I'm Tina. I am from Birmingham. I do live in Coventry, so that does make me an adopted Coventrian, doesn't it? Just out of curiosity, who in the room today has heard of the Heart of England Community Foundation? I'm now going to skip 9 slides, which tells you all about it. Next question, who in the room has had a grant from the Heart of England Community Foundation? Oh, okay, that's quite good. Well, I'm delighted to be here today, presenting on behalf of the Foundation. Obviously, I'm going to touch on the 2 funds we're currently running for the City of Culture, but it would be remiss of me not to touch on all the other funding programmes we've got available, in case at this stage those 2 particular programmes aren't for you and what you're looking for. Well, I'm going to tell you a bit about us, and that's that. So, yes, 24 years, it's our 25th celebration next year, which is a huge milestone for us. We've always been hosted by PSA, or you may know them as Persia Motor Company, which has really helped us along the years. We've awarded just over £90 million, and last year we awarded £400,000 into Coventry alone. And with the impact work that we're doing, we touch the lives of over 60,000 people. I'm not going to lie, so I'm going to be really honest with you now. So predominantly, my job at the Foundation is actually to secure funding programmes, not particularly to stand here and tell you about them. So I'm going to do my best. Okay. The one thing that we're finding at the Foundation, I'm sure the Arts Council touched on it, unfortunately, there is an ever-increasing need for funding for the huge amounts of voluntary sector organisations that we support. So what my focus is to continually try and bring more funds in for organisations like yourself. 7 years ago, our success rate was around 71%. It's now touching on around 43%. So, yeah. So it's really, really important if you're applying for a fund, and I don't want to stand here saying, oh, teaching granny to suck eggs, but I know what it's like when you're an organisation and you're struggling, and you'll see a fund and you think, I'm going to try and get my project to fit that fund. Please, please, whatever you're applying for the Foundation, do read the fact sheet to see if you're actually eligible. It makes me quite sad, to be honest. I know that you all spend so many hours, weeks, filling out application forms, and what we would like to do is to make you successful and not unsuccessful. So if you're ever in any doubt about what to apply from the Foundation, we are a front-facing organisation with a grants team that would be happy to talk to us. So please call the office. Okay, first thing, as Michael said, we are in Coventry, but we are a foundation for the West Midlands. So the majority of our funds do have strict geography. So do make sure that you're applying for a fund that you're in the area. Okay, I will touch on the funds for Coventry in a bit. Does your project meet the aims of the fund? Is what you're doing fit in with what the criteria says on the fact sheet? How much you're applying for? You'd be quite surprised if we have a grant programme of 2,000, we get applications for 14,000, and you think, if you'd have just read the fact sheet, you'd have known that we just can't fund it. Okay. We predominantly support smaller, under-resourced voluntary organisations that are often kind of under the radar of national funders. So a lot of our programmes, the income of your organisation should be less than 250,000, which we class as a small voluntary group. Would you like to? But yes, let's make it a Q&A now.
Is that current financial year, so if organisations have an unusual year, do you take an average of income over the last?
We can take an average over 3 years. I think the biggest conversations we have with organisations is if they've received quite a large grant and they don't always consider it to be income, but it is. So yeah, we can take it over 3, but I'm going to touch on it. Some of our programmes are bigger. Generally, it's £250,000. And I've already said the handy tip, read the fact sheet. There's one on our website for every single fund that we manage. Okay. So, what do we have for the Coventry area? So we have our Coventry, Solihull and Warwickshire Fund, and that money is made up of a number of investments that we have, and we spend the interest annually in grants, and they are up to £2,000. Jumping Through Hoops is the grants that are available of 5,000. Jumping Through Hoops is really quite specific. It's about supporting young people in Coventry, 18 to 25, who may be in a vulnerable housing situation. They may want some more training. It may be a project that helps them to get more skills, which leads into employment. We do have quite a lot of money in that pot, so if it doesn't suit you, if you know anybody that works with people around that age group, please tell them to have a look at the Jumping Through Hoops Fund. Doing very good, because I haven't even looked at my notes, so I am remembering. Okay. Now, what I'm here for is to talk about the two funds that we're currently running for the City of Culture, which I have to say is a very exciting time for Coventry, is it not? Yes, Michael. Yes, everyone.
Together.
Yes. I'm glad we've got the.
That's good. You can relax.
Let me just find. So we launched these funds last year. We have two. We have the Get Ready Fund, which are grants up to 5,000. The Get Ready Fund is also open to individuals to apply. The road to fund. The Get Ready one, the next one is £5,000 to £10,000, but £10,000 is for organisations only. I did kind of hear what the Arts Council guy before me said, and what we want to do is to manage expectations. At the minute, currently we're funding 1 in 6 submitted applications to these funds. So we are very, very oversubscribed. Again, I cannot, please call the office if you've got an idea for one of these projects but you're just not sure if it fits. I don't know whether he's in the room, I've just had a conversation with someone and he's just posed a project to me, and the project was around the history of Coventry. Actually, the City of Culture is not what's gone before, it's what's going to happen ahead. So what we're looking at, what does Coventry look like in 2021? How will it look like as a City of Culture? And how will we ensure that all communities in Coventry are engaged with this? And I know the City of Culture have now got community producers that are out around the city, which is fantastic. So when you're thinking of applying to one of these funds, think about what will this city look like in a couple of years' time? And what does your project bring? And who are you engaging with? It could, it's diverse. It could be for the Get Ready, it could be feasibility studies. You might have an idea. You're not sure if it's got legs, so you could apply to run a pilot project. You might want to improve your organisation itself. You might want to look at business planning and how you're going to sustain yourself in the future in relation to the City of Culture. We do have a table upstairs, so if anybody has got a particular project that you'd like to run by us, then I'd strongly suggest you come up and talk to us about it. Okay. Finally, we have our Harry Payne Fund. What I would say about Harry Payne, if you're looking for £1,000 and you only want to fill out a few questions, that is the fund to go for. No, it's not a huge amount of money, but actually, we get loads of applications to that fund because they fund that thing called running costs. So they're not bothered if you need some rent or you need some help with running your centre. The Harry Payne Fund will support that, and that's with an income of £500,000. Whoever's written this has said again, please make sure you read the fund fact sheet. I think I've told you that, I know. Just a little bit about what we've done already with the City of Culture. So we supported 22 projects across Coventry already. As I've told you, the success rate is currently 1 in 6. And 16, for us, what's brilliant about us running these funds is that 16 of these applicants had never applied to the foundation before. So that's good for us. I love to see organisations get funding from us that have never applied. So that's brilliant. I mean, it goes without saying that the fund will prioritise organisations that are based in Coventry, that know Coventry and the people of Coventry, and that includes Coventry artists as well. They will absolutely get priority for funding in this programme. As I've already said, Get Ready Fund, maximum 5,000. The Road to Fund is actually spelt wrong, but it's 5,000 for individuals and £10,000 for organisations. So just touching on that again, when you're thinking of your project, just try and focus more about what the future of Coventry will be. I think there's lots of things going on separately around the heritage trails, because I know there's huge heritage and history in Coventry, and I know that will be embraced in another way, but not particularly through these programmes. Top tips on applying. Yeah, we have webinars, we have lots of things on our website, which we do try and attract groups to go and have a look. You get top tips on what does a good application look like. I'm not going to say read the fun fact sheet again, even though I'm getting bored of reading it, so yeah. Yeah, read, just, it's a really obvious thing really, but just read the question before answering. You know, there's occasions you will see an application and you're not quite actually sure what the project is. It's not about writing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of words. It's about just writing what the project is. So you can be as long as or succinct as you want. Evidence. We generally, if it's a fund that is stating it's for a particular community, whether it's for young people, whether it's for black and minority ethnic groups, we would expect to see some evidence of consultation. You know, if we get an application and a group want to provide X, Y and Z for young people, but they haven't asked them if they want it, it's unlikely that we'll fund it. We're not asking you to go out and do 1,000 community questions, but just something that evidences the need for the project. Okay. Compile your answers on a Word document and paste onto the application. That way you can check your spelling and grammar. There you go. Okay. Remember to write your application as if you were explaining it to someone who does not know what you do. That's kind of what I just meant. You obviously know your organisation like the back of your hands, but a funder doesn't. So just try and make it clear exactly what it is that you do. Okay. As I said, we're here until very late this evening, but for now, has anybody got any questions they would like to ask me? Anybody?
Any deadline dates for any of these funds, or is it ongoing?
We don't have deadlines at the foundation. We say to allow a maximum of 13 weeks for an outcome. In my experience, I did many years ago work at Lottery, I find deadlines encourage. It's just like when you're applying for a job, isn't it? We all apply at 5 o'clock on the closing day, and we end up with absolutely piles of applications. So allow 13 weeks for your project delivery. Yes?
If you get turned down, can you resubmit? Can you kind of tweak it and resubmit it at some future point? Is that allowed?
Yes, you can apply at any time. The only reason we wouldn't is if your organisation was ineligible, which is very, very different. But actually, you've touched on something. As Michael said, we've been around for a while, and I don't think we've particularly changed the way we've done things. So we're actually going through a funding strategy review at the minute, and one of the things we're looking at is how we feed back to rejected applicants, because it's a really good question. If I turn around and reject your application tomorrow and said oversubscribed, and you're going to likely to apply again, then I write back to you again and say oversubscribed, I don't think it's fair on you. So we're actually looking at the way we do give rejected feedback, which will either say this is a great project but we didn't have enough money, but actually it's unlikely to get funded, and I think we need to be a bit bolder in how we report back to groups. So thank you for that question. Michael, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to say, the other schemes you mentioned, Tina, are available on the website, aren't they? The jumping through hoops.
All of our applications are done online, and all of the ones I've touched on today, yeah, you just go on, click on the link and apply online to us. Yes.
What sort of projects have you already funded through this particular
Through the City of Culture, we funded Reflections, which was it was like a rave with loads of young people not a rave in the typical sense, it was more an arts rave. We funded Wiggle Dance Theatre, which is an organisation that works with young mums and their young parents and their babies. What else, Michael?
Richard Hall's work as well.
Yeah, we funded Fugitive, which was a play which was shown in the Albany in the Shopfront Theatre.
There's a whole list, isn't there?
There's a whole list, and there's 22, and I have got them upstairs, and they are on our website as well. But all of them have been Coventry based.